Hello there, watching L24 Midnight News, streaming live from the capital Algiers, and to the headlines. Algerian Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development received in Caracas by the President of the Republic of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. While responding to a question about the current China-Palestine relations, Chinese Foreign Ministry confirmed Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas' visit to Beijing this year. Announced by Saudi Arabia and the United States, another 24-hour ceasefire from early Saturday in Sudan's capital, Al Khartoum. In U.S., former U.S. President Donald Trump to be prosecuted for obstruction and violating Espionage Act over classified documents seized at his Mar-a-Lago in Florida. Hello again and welcome. The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Mohammed Abdel Hafid Hani, was received in Caracas by President of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. The meeting took place on the sidelines of Mr. Hani's participation in the proceedings of the fourth session of the Algerian-Venezuela Joint Commission for Economic, Commercial, Scientific, Technical and Cultural Cooperation held on June 8 and 9 in Caracas. The meeting was an opportunity to discuss ways and means to strengthen the prospects for partnership and cooperation between the two countries.
We wish to build very high-level strategic relations with Venezuela. Our objective is to develop exchanges in all fields: economy, trade, exchanges in the field of tourism, culture and scientific research, as well as technical approaches in the agricultural sector in relation with the current problems of food security that affect all the countries.
In a different matter, the Palestinian presidency announced that President Mahmoud Abbas is scheduled to make an official 3-day visit to China next week. The visit comes at the invitation of the Chinese President Xi Jinping on the 35th anniversary of establishing bilateral relations between the two countries. Both presidents are expected to exchange opinions on the latest developments on the Palestinian arena, as well as on national, or rather regional and international issues of mutual concern.
China is willing to follow the consensus reached by the two heads of state and work with Palestine to push the traditional friendship between the two countries to a new level.
In the same line of thought, China has reaffirmed its support for Palestinian people in their just cause of restoring legitimate rights.
As a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council, China will continue working hard with the international community for a comprehensive, just and lasting settlement of the Palestinian question at an early date.
Still in Palestine, but in a different matter, Palestinian territory and precisely Ramallah in the West Bank, Zionist forces have killed a Palestinian young man as part of the violence that Zionist forces are leading in the region. Usama Yada in this report.
In a further escalation led by the Zionist forces in the West Bank, the occupation forces have fatally shot dead another Palestinian man at the Rentis checkpoint west of the occupied West Bank city of Ramallah. 29-year-old Mehdi Bayadsa was killed following claims he arrived in an alleged stolen vehicle to a checkpoint to the occupation forces.
The incident showed that resistance in the West Bank is ready and able to confront the crimes of the occupation.
This last Zionist crime came a day after the occupation forces had detonated the home of Islam Farouk in the same region. These continuous Zionist violations of human rights and unnecessary escalation coincide with a general and comprehensive strike in the territories occupied in 1948. Palestinians are protesting against rampant murders in this particular region, the latest of which was the shooting of 5 Palestinians in a car wash on Thursday, amidst one of the worst waves of crimes affecting Palestinians in the 1948 territories. These crimes have brought the death toll this year to 96, including 6 women and 2 children.
We hold Israeli authorities fully responsible for the alarming increase in crime in our society, as it is the official body that bears the responsibility and has the ability to eradicate this terrible phenomenon.
Zionist forces have launched a fierce wave of military raids on many Palestinian cities and camps, which provoked reaction of Palestinians. The confrontations have left at least 157 martyrs since the start of this year, and the figure is likely to rise due to the continuous violence led by Zionist forces, ignoring all peace agreements and human rights treaties.
Moroccan journalist Dunya Filali and her husband Adnan Filali have announced the end of the hunger strike, which began on June 2nd and ended on June 9. In a video posted on the YouTube channel, they cited the worsening of the health condition as the reason for ending the strike, reiterating the unwavering determination to pursue the combat and expose the Makhzen's oppression.
بعد 7 أيام من الإضراب المتواصل عن الطعام.
After 7 consecutive days of hunger strike, we decided today, due to my health condition and after consulting many doctors, to stop the hunger strike because our goal is not to die, but our ultimate goal is exposing the trans-border persecution perpetrated by the Moroccan regime, which uses all illegitimate, illegal and inhuman means against us. I would like to thank the Spanish, Algerian, Sahrawi, German media and Dutch media, and would like to extend my thanks to all the brave Moroccans.
The head of the Libyan National Unity Government, Abdelhamid Dbeiba, affirmed that his government has put Libya back on the path of stability. Dbeiba stressed in an interview with the Italian Nova agency during his visit to Rome that there are internal parties seeking to extend the transitional period, underlying that Libya's ultimate goal was to achieve elections. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni announced on Friday that the leaders of Italy, the Netherlands and European Commission are likely to announce an EU aid package for Tunisia during a visit over the weekend. Meloni said that the European aid package to be announced will pave the way for obtaining funding from International Monetary Fund, indicating that the possibility of important steps forward. In Africa still, the Mauritanian Foreign Ministry expressed its satisfaction with Algeria's victory in the membership of United Nations Security Council. A statement issued by the ministry confirmed Mauritania's confidence that Algeria's membership in the Council will add strong voice to this international forum. The statement added that Algeria's vote in the Council would contribute to the defense of Arab and African strategic issues and interests, as well as the promotion of global peace and security. Saudi Arabian mediators and USA in Sudan stated that warring sides have agreed a nationwide 24-hour ceasefire from Saturday morning, following a week of intensified fighting after a previous truce deal failed. The mediators said the ceasefire was an effort to break the cycle of violence between Sudan's army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, which began battling each other 8 weeks ago, sparking a major humanitarian crisis. The United Nations confirmed that in its position towards Volker Perthes as envoy to Sudan has not changed, and he will remain in his position despite the objection of the head of Sudanese Sovereignty Council, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan. Stephen Dujarric, spokesman for Secretary General of the United Nations, said that he will keep Volker Perthes as envoy to Sudan despite the army's rejection.
Is that the Secretary General recalls that the doctrine of persona non grata is not applicable to or in respect of United Nations personnel, and its invocation is contrary to the obligations of states under the Charter of the United Nations, including those concerning the privileges and immunities of the United Nations and its personnel. Mr. Perthes, I will just tell you that Mr. Perthes' status is currently unchanged, and the Secretary General's position remains the same as what he said to you in last week in front of the Security Council.
The UN mission said on Friday that 13 people were killed in a conflict that broke out between the two ethnic groups in Camp run by international organization which houses displaced people in the north of the state of South Sudan. And the clashes began between members of the two sectors, or rather sects, residing in the camp in the city of Malkala, with the death of a man who was stabbed. Still in the African continent, in Guinea-Bissau, the opposition won an absolute majority in the legislative elections that took place on Sunday. Acting chairman of Electoral Commission Mpapi Kabi said that the Beya Terra coalition affiliated with the African Party for Independence of Guinea and Cape Verde won 55 or rather 54 seats ahead of Madame GI15, who won 29 seats, while the Social Renewal Party won 12 seats and party workers won 6 seats out of 102. The Secretary General of the League of Arab States, Ahmed Abul Ghaid, stressed the importance that Arab League that attached to the strategic partnership with the Security Council, stressing the need for interaction between the two sides to support security and peace in the Middle East. Abul Ghaid called in a speech on Thursday during the high-level session of the Security Council on cooperation between the Arab League and the Security Council on everyone to pay the necessary attention to all sources of conflict in the world, such as Palestine, Yemen, Syria, Somalia, and Sudan.
أؤكد على الأهمية التي توليها الجامعة العربية للشراكة الاستراتيجية مع مجلس الأمن.
I emphasize the importance granted by the Arab League to the strategic partnership with the Security Council. We are convinced by the importance of interaction between us to support peace and security in the Middle East, with the hope to see the region shift from conflicts and crises to peace and stability, so that the peoples will enjoy peace and security. I call on everyone to pay the necessary attention to all conflict zones in the world, and that the conflict in Ukraine or other crises don't affect international commitments, notably on the human aspect vis-à-vis regions that are beset by severe human crises, including millions of refugees and displaced people. Palestinians in the occupied territories suffer from the dual impact of the continuous occupation with the escalation of violence and oppression by the Israeli authorities. It's a government that chose annexation and settlement over peace, and exercises on a daily basis its policies and practices which run counter international law and hinders any prospect for a two-state solution.
The International Monetary Fund, the IMF, said on Thursday that Lebanon needs urgent action on comprehensive economic reforms to avoid irreversible consequences for its economy. The IMF said that it has concluded an Article 4 consultation with Lebanese authorities on June 1st and concluded that reforms were urgently needed to arrest the severe and deepening crisis facing the economy. 2 migrants died and 1 was left in a serious condition on Friday after people driving the boats they were in ordering them to swim to shore. 2 boats with 137 male migrants, including at least 3 minors, were near Adira Almeria in the Mediterranean on Friday morning. Spanish police received most of the migrants on dry land, but 2 drowned and 1 suffered hypothermia. The Coast Guard is continuing to search the area by helicopter to check for others who may have drowned.
Well, this morning we received an alert and we activated the team due to the arrival of several boats. In total, more than 120 people arrived at the coast of Adra. First, we moved a team of the Red Cross to meet the first basic needs and assess the situation. And now we're at the port receiving the different people who are arriving. In total, more than 120 people. And it seems that there have been 2 deaths.
French President Emmanuel Macron visited on Friday the headquarters of the local administration to meet those who provided support and assistance during the attack that rocked the city of Annecy on Thursday. His visit followed that paid to the families of 3 children who were transferred to a hospital in Grenoble. Macron praised the role of police firefighters and healthcare providers during their attempt to intervene in the attack to help the victims.
I think you all have, in each of your roles, been remarkable, with professionalism and efficiency. First of all, citizens, I would like to pay tribute to those who are present here, who responded with a lot of courage, without thinking twice, and in a news event that sometimes makes us see the worst faces of humanity. This shows us how having received an education driven by values and knowing how to find in yourself the things that keep us standing up and the most important values allow us to make great acts.
Trouver en soi les ressorts de ce qui nous tient debout et les plus belles valeurs permet de faire des grands gestes.
In a meeting with Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko, Russian President Vladimir Putin stated that his country will start deploying tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus after the facilities are ready on July 7 and 8. The two presidents had previously agreed to plan to deploy Russian land-based short-range nuclear missiles on the territory of Moscow's close ally, where they will remain under Russian command.
In terms of the security situation, we will talk about it in private. In general, the situation is stable. I would say it is even good. I'm sure we're deepening cooperation in this area. As for the most sensitive topics we talked about, everything is going to plan. On July 7th or 8th, preparations for the corresponding nuclear facilities will be done, and we will start activities regarding the deployment of the corresponding type of weapons on your territory at once.
For his part, Belarusian president said that there was no point in hoping for lifting of sanctions, citing the need for self-reliance.
We thought it would be worse, but at the moment it is a bit better than we thought it would be, and thank God for that. We will gradually build our relations. I've already said that publicly at the gathering of the secretaries of the Security Councils of Eurasian Economic Community, that we, together with Russia, will come up with an action plan for this situation. There is no point hoping that the sanctions will be lifted. No point even talking about it. We need to rely only on ourselves.
Within the same topic, Russian President Vladimir Putin downplayed offensives of Ukraine's counterattack, which it had threatened for months, stating that it had failed to achieve any significant gains on the ground. Hassan Burkani on this report.
Despite Ukraine's assertions of a successful counterattack, Russian President Vladimir Putin expressed skepticism regarding their claims. Putin confirmed that the counterattack had started a few days ago, but refuted any notion of Ukraine's forces making substantial progress in the front lines.
It is evident that the counterattack has been initiated, as seen from Kiev's deployment of its strategic reserves. However, the Ukrainian forces have failed to accomplish their assigned objectives in any of the combat zones. There have been intense clashes over the past 5 days, but the enemy has made no advancements in any sector.
Russia underestimated the effectiveness of Ukraine's counterattack in achieving tangible victories due to its robust military capabilities, which have enabled significant losses to be inflicted upon Ukrainian forces. Nevertheless, Western countries continue to provide generous support in the form of weapons. The U.S. Department of Defense announced a new aid package totaling $2 billion to enhance the Ukrainian Air Force resilience.
This $2.1 billion package includes air defense capabilities and vital munitions, provided under the Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative.
On the ground, the Ukrainian Air Forces reported the successful downing of 4 Russian cruise missiles and 10 attack drones.
Ukraine's air defenses intercepted and destroyed 4 missiles and 10 drones launched by Russian forces.
In the ongoing battle for control over the part of Zaporozhye, the war between Russian and Ukrainian forces persists, With various scenarios unfolding, the outcome of this conflict remains uncertain.
Federal prosecutors in the United States unsealed a classified charge in Donald Trump with 37 criminal counts on Friday, accusing the former U.S. president of repeatedly lying and complicating to illegally retain some of the government's most sensitive national security secrets. Nabil Khazini on this report.
Name Donald Trump. Title Former President of the United States. It is the first time in U.S. history that an indictment like this one is made against the President of the United States. Trump is accused of mishandling sensitive information, accusing him of willfully defying Justice Department demands to return documents he had taken from the White House to Mar-a-Lago. He is also accused of making false statements, among other allegations.
Today, an indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump with felony violations of our national security laws, as well as participating in a conspiracy to obstruct justice.
These photos capture how the classified documents were allegedly stored after his presidency was over. In January 2021, when he left the White House to settle in his luxurious residence in Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump took entire boxes of classified documents. A law, however, obliges the president to transmit all his emails, letters, and other working documents to the National Archives.
Well, there's never been anything like what's happened. I'm an innocent man, I'm an innocent person.
The 45th President of the United States has loudly and insistently proclaimed that he is an innocent man, but the federal indictment of Donald Trump depicts a man who knew that what he was doing was wrong and went to great lengths to cover it up. For now, Trump is innocent in court until proven guilty. Donald Trump is back to the scene, and this spectacular return could instantly reshape the 2024 presidential race in the United States.
China's foreign ministry on Friday said that spreading rumors and slander is a common U.S. tactic. A statement came following a media report pretending that China has reached a deal with Cuba to set up an electronic eavesdropping facility on the island.
I am aware of the situation that you have mentioned. It is well known to everyone that spreading rumors and slander is a common U.S. tactic. Reckless interference in the internal affairs of other countries is the specialty of the United States. The United States is also the world's most powerful hacking empire, an eavesdropping power that's worthy of its name. The United States has long illegally occupied the Guantanamo base in Cuba and engaged in unspeakable activities. The embargo has been imposed on Cuba for more than 60 years.
Closing our news bulletin with the UEFA Champions League final. Inter Milan and Manchester City delivered their first training session at Atatürk Olympic Stadium Friday evening, putting the last plans forward by the coaches to gain the biggest, priceless trophy in European football. Italian Inter Milan, three-time Champions League winner, will be bidding for their first title since the last time under the management of Jose Mourinho in 2010. On the other side, this is only the second Manchester City final to play in this competition after losing the first one against Chelsea in 2021 under the management of Spanish coach Pep Guardiola.
Absolutely a dream. And to achieve things, always you have to have the correct portion of obsession, to desire, to want it. When the obsession is a positive word for the fact to be desire and willing, to try to do it. But of course, a dream for all of us.
E noi chiaramente sappiamo
We know what kind of match to expect tomorrow. We know what kind of match we have to play. We know that Manchester City right now are probably the best team in the world. They have proved that, and they have been defeated very few times. But we are aware of our Champions League campaign. We are proud of what we did, and we will do our very best. To play well in the final, we must have high concentration, and we must make no mistakes. We have to do this because our opponents are a very, very strong team.
Affrontiamo una squadra molto molto forte.
Wishing the best of luck to our Algerian national Riyad Mahrez to gain the first Champions League title in his career. To this end, ladies and gentlemen, thank you ever so much for being with us in this late hour. All I can say at the end, take care of yourself and good night.